Today, guys, I remembered the topic that I was going to talk about. So yesterday, I specifically talked about race. I talked about IQ with Asians, Europeans, and Africans, talking about the size of the brain and intelligence. So before I even go more into those type of things on future episodes, I wanted to let people know my stance, because a lot of people in the comments and in my personal life have been telling me various things about I'm not choosing a side. I think I have chosen the side. In terms of my beliefs and my positions. So whether we're talking about race, whether we're talking about class, whether we're talking about politics, etc., my stance is that I just want to be honest. I want to be objective, and I try to find the truth. That's why, if you guys have seen the logo, it says the pursuit of truth. So I'll just start, I guess, with the religious topic before going to something religious. There's the topic of the Jews with a certain, Israel, but also more so the Jews with a certain segment of the population, mostly on the alt-right, but actually both extremes, really, the alt-right and the liberals, right? So there are a lot of things that I come across about Jewish people. Many of them I do believe are true. I follow the facts. I don't like Benjamin Netanyahu. I think he's a war criminal. I think there's a lot of things. The previous prime minister was tied into this stuff with Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein was Jewish. So I think that people are not lying when they want to hold Jewish people accountable for certain atrocities that they may be committing. So this one is pedophilia, but people have also brought up Gaza, right? There of at least 60,000 Gazans, but I believe over 100,000 Gazans have died. Over 1 million were displaced. I thought that the war that I didn't think it was wrong for Israel to defend themselves, but they were very precise when they attacked Iran, but they just blew up all of Gaza, right? So I've been paying very close attention to what Israel, and I'm not going to say Jewish people, what Israel has been doing. So I wanted to make it clear to people that, like, I'm not pro-Israel. I see various things that Israel does or that they're involved with that's wrong. But one of the reasons why I don't speak about all Jews is because, again, that's the government doing things in the military. And I would think that as Americans, for example, in other countries, when we're doing coups or when we're having certain leaders ousted or when we go to war with various countries, I wouldn't want the people of those countries to think that us as Americans, we dislike Japan or we dislike the Middle East or we dislike Muslims based upon, the actions of the government. So I always try to say on this show, I'll at least try to be nuanced and point to Benjamin Netanyahu. I think he's a war criminal. Lots of people in the UN, not people, but lots of countries have already denounced him. And I stand with those countries. I want America to start publicly denouncing Israel in these world meetings, in these world organizations. And I want America to stop funding everything that Israel does, because it's two sides. And then I'll get off this because this is why the producer kind of probably doesn't want me to rant. I don't like the influence of Israel on America, but then I also don't like the situation where whatever they do, even if we don't agree with them because they're our strongest allies, we never publicly state that we're against them. So I understand the relationship, how they're connected to helping us in the Middle East with gas, being in the region, etc. I'm not calling for us to not be allies with Europe, Israel, etc. I'm just asking that we be fair and objective and hold them to the same standards we would hold other nations. Now, moving on to the next point before we get off the rant, guys. It was like a 2-part rant. In terms of things like whether it's race or even ideology, right? I have stated many times things about the black community where I have said the murder rate is off the charts. I have stated that they're using welfare at a higher group than other groups per capita. I've stated that they commit violence at a higher rate than other groups per capita, of course. But the thing is, I don't look at life as like white or black. I consider Hispanics. I consider Middle Eastern people. I consider Asians, right? I guess what I'm telling you guys is for most topics, I don't see it as an either or. I just look at things in totality and try to consider everybody. So for that reason, I will obviously continue to call out, I'm African American. I will call out my community for its wrongs, but then I wouldn't be the type of person that every episode you guys come to me or every situation, I'm just going to pile on blacks. Same thing for whites. I'm black, but I'm not going to pile on what whites are doing that is wrong. Because last point on this, guys, I have brought up child pornography with white people before, and I have said per capita, they are committing child pornography at a higher rate than other groups. They're 50% of the population, 80% of the rest. Whereas, like, for example, blacks are 5% of the 15% of the population, 5% of the rest. I think Hispanics are like 20% of the population. and they're under 10% of the rest. I'm not sure exactly the percent that Hispanics are at. But based upon that, I'm using the logic of what people say about blacks. Based upon that logic, one would say that therefore whites are the face of child pornography and possibly being child abusers, right? So I don't actually believe that white people are the face of child pornography. I don't think that white people are abusing children. I just go to that point in response to people talking about blacks. I just wanted to make that clear to everybody so people don't from my show get the idea, oh, he's just the opposite of the people talking about the blacks. He wants to talk about the whites. No, a lot of times when I make these racial comments, even about white people, I'm talking about racist whites. I need to start making that clear as well. I'm just making this, saying these points in a counter argument to the people I disagree with. Just across the board, for the most part, I think that the bigger issues are like welfare, violent crime, child abuse, etc. So those are the topics I plan on like covering moving forward. I plan on sticking to the actual problems and not trying to turn the actual problems into like a racist class thing, etc. I'm going to move on now to the reactions, guys. But I'll touch on this one last point because I don't think I've gone too long. In terms of and this also fits in terms of like Jewish people. I've seen Christians now online talk about Muslims. They say that the Prophet Muhammad had some kind of sexual relation with a 9-year-old. If he did, fuck him. Sorry, Muslims. I'm not trying to disrespect your prophet. Just saying, if somebody had sexual relations with a minor, I think that would be inappropriate. As this was brought up earlier in my conversation about saying that Jewish people have a pedophilia problem, a lot of people worldwide are saying, besides just the prophet, they're saying a lot of Muslims are going into these Western European countries, such as Austria or Germany or Britain, etc., and they're saying that these migrants are raping young girls. So obviously I'm against rape, and I think that if the rate of rape has gone up because of the migrants, that has to be acknowledged, which I don't mind people acknowledging, and it has to be addressed. So my point of just bringing this up is to say that obviously if I was to have gone down just a rabbit hole talking about Jewish people and pedophilia, then where do the Muslims fit in that? Because there's also a problem with them now going to countries committing rape and having sex with minors as well. Plus, as I brought up before, there's the situation with the Catholic Church where, for one, the Catholic Church got caught in terms of they had priests who were having sex with children, and then instead of sending them to jail or even taking their priesthood or their status, they were just sending them to other places. So all they ended up doing was raping children in a different place. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that these same things that not just Jews, but also not that they're saying about Muslims, and I even get to African Americans just to close this. You can say it about the Catholics, and then me being a black person, I live in New Orleans, right? Most of the Section 8 is predominantly black. So there's a problem with men, and it's mostly men, molesting children in the projects, etc., right? So I think that as a society, though it drives clicks, though it drives passion, etc., people want to handpick various groups for these problems. Just in this one, I guess you call it a monologue, guys, I've brought up 4 different groups: Christians, Muslims, Jews, and also African Americans. Same problem in all groups, right? We have to believe people when they report molestation. We have to have them sentenced longer, because for now you only get like 2 to 3 years when you commit these type of crimes. So basically the laws on the books just don't protect the victims. But that was enough for me, guys. Again, like I told you last episode, if you like when I go off on some of these rants, we can continue doing them. Or if you prefer that I be more focused in my delivery and give you guys specific information, I can do that. It's just something I wanted to test out because there are various things I'm passionate about, and I just wanted to be more conversational with you guys and let you guys see who and how I am. If you like this video, please smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. New shows airing Monday through Thursday.